Hey guys, Lawrence Burchett here with Reality's Edge. So today we're going to kind of keep on with some current event stuff. I know everybody's getting tired of hearing about Russia, Ukraine, wars, and brinkmanship and all that. So today will probably be the last time we talk about this for a while or anything related, but I thought it was important and it was something that we needed to probably discuss. Before we get into it though, we got a t-shirt. Only one, so don't make a mad rush to the store to try to buy one. I'd like to say thank you to my wife for this. She worked hard getting it ready for me, and so thank you, baby. Appreciate it. Also, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that has supported me. You know, giving the thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't think I've had any thumbs downs, but just in case, thank you either way. Feedback's feedback. Um, if you're new to the channel, if you like what you're seeing here, give me a thumbs up. Also, you know, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Share this video with your friends. You know, let them know what we're about. We're about conspiracy theory. We're about Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, such things as that. If you have a topic you would like to talk about, hit me up in the email. I put it at the end of the video. And, well, let's give her a shot. So, today we're going to talk about geopolitics. And geopolitics is not really politics like, you know, in the elections and stuff like that. Geopolitics is a study of the influence of such factors as geography, economics, and demography on the politics and the foreign policy of a state. Now, what's that mean? Now, to me, what it means is where you're at in the world, who you're surrounded by, whether it be, you know, mostly rural or whether it be mostly, you know, like in the city, stuff like that. That's gonna completely have an impact on what kind of the way you believe as far as on a political stance and what country you're at. If you're surrounded by water, if you're landlocked, that's going to also play a, you know, that's also geopolitics, and that will play a big factor in the way people do things around the world, especially with foreign policy. uh, you know, we see countries that are landlocked. You know, they tend to not have navy. They tend to not have a lot of shipping. Uh, they tend to also have really strong armies because there's a good chance that somebody around them is not a friend, or maybe multiple somebodies around them is not a friend. They're really quick to defend and really quick to react. Also, you see, especially, you know, the size of the country. The smaller the country, typically the slower they are to react. Typically, the less likely they are to be able to defend themselves. And you see things like what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine. You know, Russia is a large country. They have a lot of resources and they have a lot of people. And they also have a tyrant dictator as their president as well. And he's just, you know, he's doing what he thinks he's got to do. So I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just calling it like I see it. And then the Ukraine, you know, they're basically kind of landlocked. And they're a significantly smaller country than Russia, but they do have a lot of resources. And we're seeing their people, you know, fight like the devil. Now, how long can they hold on? I don't know. And then let's go ahead and look also at like Israel. Israel is landlocked on three sides, and they've got a sea on the other. Now, they're not a real big country, but they have got they don't have a real big navy. Actually, I don't know that they have any navy. I've never actually looked into it, but they do require that all of their citizens at some point in time when they hit a certain age join the military, the Israeli Defense Force. and they are highly trained, and they can be quite mean from the way I've understood. Now, what does that have to do with it? What's the conspiracy theory there? All right, so here's what it is. So we're with the geopolitics today. We're gonna talk about what I call the cult of the political personalities. Now, that is when you, the cult of a cult is any kind of organization or group that seeks to control people, sometimes through brainwashing, propaganda, separation from their families or friends or people that they have never really been separated from, things like that. Now, in American politics, we see we have two main political parties, the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. And I don't give a damn who you are. You look at both of them, they're both cults in their own right. And they both have factions within them that are cultish as well. Just because it's easier to pick on them, let's start with the Democrat Party right now. So within the Democrat Party, you have your far left, the ones that are more, socialism, blah, blah, blah. And especially after the election of 2016, we really seen these lines within each party, really get really broad lines. And we seen even people within their own party that did not stand with each other. If you didn't, if you were a Democrat but you didn't believe the way this other Democrat over here believed, you were pretty well ostracized, and you were talked down to. You see the same thing within the Republican Party. You see Republicans that, you're far right, very far right, what they call Christian conservatives or ultra conservative Republicans. You see them, kind of shy away from people that are just more conservative minded, but not, ultra, right wing, like especially Christian conservative. And they all seem to hate anybody that's moderate that can come together anymore. There was a point in time in the government of the United States where the left and the right, even though they didn't have the same ideology, they had one thing in common: a love for this nation. And they would come together to, they'd meet in the middle of the aisle. They'd bring the aisles together, they'd meet in the middle, and they would do what was best for the American people. You don't see that anymore. And I have to really think, I don't think it's so much the parties themselves. I just don't believe that. Me personally, I believe that there is other people pulling the strings. Like, there's a tale, and I'm going to do some more research on this, but there is a tale that there is something in the neighborhood of like 6,000 to 8,000 people that actually run everything on this planet. They are the power structure. They tell all of the politicians, the royalty, everybody in charge, which is funny, especially here in America, in charge. Yeah, these people are not in charge of me, and they're not in charge of any of my American listeners. But they are the ones that tell the presidents and congressmen and the senators and all that, this is the way you're going to do this. And there's a theory of that, and there's actually probably quite a bit of, if I would actually do the research, there's probably quite a bit of truth to that. But, we seen, like I said, we seen in 2016, after the 2016 election, and after the inauguration of January of 2017, we seen those lines really drawn within the different parties, and party to party as well. We seen where people in the Democrat Party called for people, if they seen, somebody come into a restaurant to eat dinner, that was not, that was from the opposition side, I guess is probably the best way to say it. They told them to harass them until they left. Don't let them have any peace. And you know what? We've seen the same thing with people from the Republican Party too. Now, me personally, I think political parties are the cancer not only of the United States because they have them worldwide. They're the cancer of the planet. That is what has taken freedom and stolen freedom. That's the way that the people, the New World Order, or whatever you want to call it, that is the way that they have managed to take power and the way they have managed to gain control. Because what they're doing is they're gaining control through the hearts of the people. You know, the Democrat Party over here, the Republican Party over here, they speak to the hearts of their followers. Or, yeah, well, I mean, that's basically what it is. They're followers, even though they're politicians. We don't follow them. We're not supposed to follow them. We don't have to follow them. And the same thing, you know, in other countries as well. Do not follow that. You know, all they're doing, one side or the other, is just playing on your heart in order to, you know, get a desired outcome. And honestly, what's the odds that they are not only are they, you know, just trying to divide us, but at the end of the day, they get together and have a stiff drink at the end of the day and, you know, laugh at us and say, man, look at this. We got these people buffaloed. You know, what's the odds of that? I'd say it's probably pretty good. I think the left hand and the right hand shake hands behind our backs every night. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. You know, like our presidents, they don't seem to really be presidents anymore. They seem to be, and they probably, maybe they never were. They seem to be being controlled by somebody else. They're just a figurehead anymore. We've seen it. We've seen it basically with every president, every congressman, every senator. You know, they come in, they tell a bunch of, you know, they fill us full of a bunch of crap to get us to vote for them. And then they don't follow through with anything. And, you know, this is going to piss some people off. I'm sure it is, but it's just the way it is. You know, it's the way I see it. And, you know, reality's edge is mine, so I can espouse that. If you have a different thought, you know, shoot me an email or, you know, send a comment, write a comment on the video. I am more than glad to listen. And I can have a discussion without getting upset. I can have a discussion without, you know, getting all pissed off and stomping off like a 2-year-old. I may not agree with you, but I'll hear you out for sure. You know, and how this cult of political personalities, how this ties in with the geopolitics. So you have one side, I'm just going to use America for example, because that's what I've got to draw from. So you have one side that will, you know, go help our allies. You know, if at the drop of a hat, we're going to go help our allies and help other people. And then you have another side that, well, we're seeing it right now, is turning their back. You know, why do we not have a fighting force over there? I'm sure somebody's going to say it's because we can't have two superpowers in the same country fighting for it. Well, here's the thing. If Putin takes the Ukraine, do you think he's going to stop there? I mean, let's think about that for a minute. Is he going to stop there? No, I doubt it. Because men like him don't stop there. You know, then he'll move somewhere else. You know, maybe it'll be Poland or who knows where. But more importantly, the domino effect that it will start is, you know, what I'm more worried about than what Putin's going to do after the Ukraine. Is he going to, you know, is he going to set off a domino effect with these other countries. We spoke about it last week, is with Iran and Israel, and then if that happens, what are we going to do then? Because Israel, we've sworn to defend Israel. Uh, Taiwan, is China going to go ahead and make their move to Taiwan? They're posturing for it. I know this is starting to sound a lot like last week's video, but I promise you it's not. Throughout history, that's what mankind has done. Nations have moved, and they've tended to move more towards countries until the last few hundred years, countries neighboring, because those geopolitically, those were people that were closest to them in their beliefs, even possibly even religious beliefs and what have you. But the cult of personality, the political personality, we look at the different political parties, and now, two people that are believed differently politically in the same family, we're splitting up just like a cult. Jim Jones, he preached the word of God according to him, and he actually, that's how he separated his followers from the outside world, separated them from their families, their friends, and he, that's how he was able to gain the kind of control over them that he was. Same thing with David Koresh with the Branch Davidians down in Waco. He did a similar thing. He was able to talk these people into, started out, preaching to them about love and God's grace and all that. And then he, over time, pulled them away from their families and the outside world. We see the same thing, the Democrat Party. They, and I'm going to pick on them because they're the easiest one to pick on. The climate change cult within the Democrat Party. They have, if you don't believe in man-made climate change, they will go completely ballistic. But, you see the same thing with the, you do somewhat see the same thing with the Republican Party as well, especially when you're talking about such topics as the LGBTQ community. Me personally, I feel as though that community has just as many rights as I do. I don't, that's not the way I lean, but hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think, and it never will. As long as that community is not hurting anybody, they're on the up and up, and I think most all of them are. Actually, I would venture to say most of them are, or all of them probably are. But, as long as they ain't hurting nobody, what's it matter to me, you, or anybody else? I'm not the judge here. But neither is the other party. We also seen the same thing with the pandemic. And the, do we force people to get the vaccine or not? And I've heard the argument when somebody says, I'm not getting the vaccine, or even anti-vaxxers. I have heard the argument from the left saying, what, you don't believe in science? Well, that is cultish in itself. Me personally, I believe in science, but I don't believe that we should force people to get a vaccine. That should be their choice. I seen the cultish activity with the masks. You know what? If somebody feels comfortable with a mask, wear a mask. If I'm around somebody and I make them uncomfortable because I'm wearing a mask, I will get away from them. Or because I'm not wearing a mask, I'm sorry. I will get away from them if that would make them more comfortable. Me personally, at this point in the game, I really don't know how much it matters, but I'm not a doctor, I'm not a biologist. I'm not none of that stuff. So I really don't know how much any of it really makes a difference. But, guys, I think I got about all I got to say about that off my chest. So, if you like today's video, hit the thumbs up. If you are a new watcher, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, get notified when we get a new video come out, and I'm gonna keep asking. Send me some stories. Share these videos out. If you got friends that have any creepy stories or whatever, fiction or nonfiction, just let me know if it's fiction or nonfiction. Or I guess I should say if it's fiction or if it's something that you actually experienced. Let me know. It could be a ghost story, could be a cryptid, UFO, whatever. Send me the story. I'll read it. All right, guys. I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. Love yourselves, love each other. Peace out.